In the world of Peter Parker, time flowed like fine grains of sand, motionless yet ever-changing. He lived in a small house with Uncle Ben, who had cared for him since the passing of his parents. Despite having someone to care for him, the feeling of loneliness lurked in Peter's mind like an unyielding shadow. The burdens piled upon Peter's young shoulders. The sense of abandonment made him feel estranged from the world around him. Watching his classmates welcome their parents. After long days, Peter felt solitary amidst the crowd. Clinging to memories of his deceased parents, he felt adrift in an endless ocean with no escape route. Every night, Peter slumped before the mirror, gazing at himself. Dim light cast upon the reflective surface portrayed the image of a cold, distant young man, with eyes painting the emptiness within. He saw himself as an outsider, belonging nowhere. Despite his efforts to conceal the inner sadness within Peter, it remained an endless storm, unsettling his fragile soul. Sometimes he wondered if life held any meaning after losing his loved ones. It was a melancholic shadow deeply rooted in his mind, devoid of any light. In Peter's sight, the beautiful girl next door was like a beacon amid dull days. Every time he stepped out of the small house's door, his gaze always lingered on her gentle image, like a colorful painting in the dark night. Every encounter with her, Peter felt a warm ray from her smile, yet simultaneously, a cold gust reminding him of loneliness and life's hardships. Each greeting from her was a bond, yet also an unbridgeable gap between Peter's world and hers. In every dream, the beautiful girl was present, yet distant, an elusive vision beyond grasp. Peter silently yearned for a day to share thoughts and dreams with her, yet feared he lacked the courage to step forward. With every glance at her, Peter's emotions grew more complex, a mixture of pain from longing and sorrow from distance. The beautiful girl became a part of Peter's life, yet also an insurmountable distance, leaving his heart forever cold in loneliness. During a laboratory visit, Peter was unexpectedly bitten by a genetically altered spider when he inadvertently entered a restricted area. Initially, the pain surged through his hand like a piercing chill from within. He stared at the bite, feeling a strange invasion of his body. As symptoms began to manifest, Peter felt lost in a dark abyss with no way out. His body started to transform, pains spreading from the bite throughout, causing him to collapse. During the transformation, Peter was engulfed in feelings of loneliness and confusion. He felt adrift between reality and imagination, like a dreamer trapped in a nightmare. With each passing second, Peter sensed an uncontrollable change occurring within him, causing him distress and fear for the uncertain future. Sadness flooded his mind as he realized his life had been forever altered by that bite. Under the dim light of the laboratory, Peter felt like a stranger in his own body, unsure how to halt the transformation and face the unclear future. As Peter's sensations returned from the initial pain, he began to realize his body had undergone an unforeseen transformation. Invisible strength manifested in every movement, every breath, like a miraculous yet burdensome gift. Every time Peter felt the new strength, he also felt the lingering loneliness and isolation in his mind. The power was not only a mark of his new life, but also a repulsive barrier to the world around him, making him feel more estranged and misunderstood. The abilities of adhesion, agility, and acute reflexes were unique gifts, yet also unwanted burdens for Peter. He felt like an outsider, belonging nowhere, carrying a secret he couldn't share with anyone. Despite his extraordinary strength, Peter still felt an invisible void, an insurmountable distance between him and those around him. The power had made him someone else, but it also robbed him of a part of himself, and sadness was gradually overwhelming his heart. The emotions of curiosity, loneliness, and loss enveloped Peter as he realized he couldn't prevent Uncle Ben's death, the man who had cared for and loved him since childhood. As dark clouds covered the sky, a sense of sadness surrounded his heart, like an unending night. When the gunshots rang out, Peter was filled with fear and sorrow as he saw Uncle Ben fall with a grievous wound. The feelings of failure and despair spread in his mind, like a gravity pulling him down into the depths of guilt and regret. He felt responsible for Uncle Ben's death, an immeasurable burden that shattered his heart in pain and remorse. Every memory of Uncle Ben was a deep-seated agony burning within Peter, something he couldn't shake off. The image of Uncle Ben, once a bright presence in his life, now faded into a dim shadow in his memories. Uncle Ben's departure left an unfillable void in Peter's heart, forcing him to face loneliness and despair alone. In agony and regret, Peter felt lost in the world, unsure how to free his soul, stumbling amidst the storm of his mind. With Uncle Ben's death as a punctuation mark to his indifference, Peter was tormented by regret and despair. Every night, dreams of Uncle Ben became an endless nightmare, causing Peter to wake with a painful ache in his heart. However, from that loss, a strong determination began to sprout in Peter's mind. He couldn't deny the anger and resentment overflowing in his heart, but he knew that revenge wouldn't bring peace to his or Uncle Ben's soul. Instead, Peter decided to use his extraordinary strength to fight against evil, to protect the weak and innocent from wickedness. He knew this was the only way he could find meaning in loss and regain peace for his soul. With determination and steadfast will, Peter embarked on a new journey, not only to avenge Uncle Ben's death, but also to protect the people of New York from the threat of criminals and villains. With exceptional technical skills and intelligence, Peter designed the Spider-Man suit, a symbol of strength and justice. Every line, every detail on the suit bore the mark of the pain and despair he had endured. Though the new suit was a symbol of power, within Peter still harbored an indescribable sense of sadness and loneliness. He realized this choice not only brought him a great responsibility, but also a heavy burden on his life. Every time he stepped out of the darkness, wearing the Spider-Man suit, he knew his life would never be the same. He would have to face danger and difficulties every day, but it was also an opportunity for him to find meaning and purpose in life. Peter began his journey to protect the people of New York, not just a battle against criminals, but also a battle with himself, to regain peace and hope in a world full of deceit. As Peter entered the fight against crime, he faced the most dangerous enemies of New York City. Before him, figures like Vulture, Dr. Octopus, and Green Goblin were not only criminals, but also symbols of pain and despair. Every confrontation with these enemies was a battle filled with pressure and anxiety. Spider-Man's extraordinary strength couldn't protect him from the deep sadness he felt as he witnessed the cruelty and ruthlessness of his foes. Every struggle with Vulture reminded Peter of Uncle Ben and the involuntary hero's sacrifice, heightening the feeling of despair within him. Each blow, each battle was a heartbreaking flashback to a painful past. Dr. Octopus, with superior intellect and powerful weapons, represented danger and difficulty in Peter's fight. He had to face not only threats to his own life, but also the safety of the entire city. Green Goblin, with betrayal and wickedness in his soul, was an extremely dangerous enemy. Every confrontation with him was a battle not only of physical strength, but also of spirit and courage for Peter. Peter grew through challenges and difficulties, learning to use his power responsibly. Every battle, every struggle, taught him a new lesson about responsibility and courage. Beneath the exterior of Spider-Man was a heart filled with complex emotions. Peter knew his power wasn't just for himself, but also to protect the weak and innocent. Spider-Man wasn't just a superhero, but also a symbol of hope for the people of New York. In every struggle, he stood firm, refusing to be subdued by pressure and danger. Spider-Man's mission wasn't just about defeating evil, but also about spreading faith and hope to those around him. Every action he took was a testament to the power of love and responsibility. With maturity and courage, Spider-Man became a great symbol, a source of encouragement and hope, spreading endlessly throughout the city of New York. Before Spider-Man lay the most dangerous enemies yet, plotting to threaten the safety of the entire city of New York. Both Peter's strength and mind faced an extremely difficult challenge. In the perilous battle, Peter had to confront a difficult choice between protecting the people and protecting those he loved. Sadness and worry overwhelmed his heart as he realized that to protect some, he might have to sacrifice much more. Peter had to face the truth that this battle could cost him more than just his own strength. But no matter how difficult it got, Peter couldn't give up his mission and was ready to sacrifice anything to protect those he loved and his city.